channel.
Hey, you know what time it is, No Press fam? Welcome everyone to another episode of the Beatdown, the segment and channel where two worlds collide. I am your host, Class. And as always guys, if you guys enjoy our content, you know what you guys can do. You can share, you can like, or you can subscribe to our channel. When you guys subscribe to our channel, you know what you do? You guys are building our empire and allowing us to provide you guys with even much more greater content for you guys to enjoy. And on today's episode, we figured we'd continue on talking about some of the characters from the Invincible franchise on Amazon Prime series. So we talk about today, our particular character will be Rex Splodes. Alright, now let's get into the brief origin story of Rex Splodes. Growing up poor, Rex as a child had to steal for his family in order to get by. He gets caught during one of his run by a government agent. Officially named was Radcliffe, and he offers the father money in exchange for his own son. The father, being a deadbeat, takes the offer without hesitation, and Rex begins his new life at a government facility. There, he would be trained regularly on how to fight and experimented on him as well. He eventually gets old enough to do missions for Radcliffe, so they decided to implant on his forearms a device that will grant him the ability to touch objects and make them explode by doing so. He went on many missions and never knew why he was taking out targets. Radcliffe requested another mission where he was told to eliminate the White House and take out Cecil. On his way there, he meets Atom Eve for the first time while she was stopping a villain and decided to help her. He doesn't do the mission and instead warns Cecil. Decides to pack things and leave, but Radcliffe isn't happy about Rex not completing his mission and begins beating on him. Rex, during the scuffle, accidentally touches Radcliffe's glasses and his head blows up. Rex decides to blow up the facility to avoid anyone finding out what he did, and he ran back to Atom Eve's home. Eventually another scuffle with government officials, and he eventually is free to make his own choices. He decides to join the Guardians of the Globe and become the boy with the mouth who knows how to blow things up. Alright, now let's get into Bath, shall we? Alright guys, and here are some of the feats. Now, some of the feats are going to be coming based from the comics, and then some of the feats are going to be based on Season 1. I won't be talking about Season 2 because I don't want to do any spoilers this moment in time. Alright, so comics wise, let's see. He helps take down the Flaxen aliens race and was a key essential since the only way to eliminate these aliens were their bracelets, which Rex was able to destroy several at once using tiny little BB gun bullets to supercharge nail them directly onto the wrist with it. He helps Invincible defeat Octobos using a computer monitor supercharged to smash onto the villain's head. Holds his own against Omnipotence, hope I'm saying that right, who can take on the whole roster team. Assists in another battle against Doc Seismic. His big battle, this one's an interesting feat, one of the most impressive feats out there. He took on the reunited Lizard League and during battle lost Duplicate and Shrink Ray and was left alone to duke it out with the 4 members of Lizard League. During this time, he gets his hand bitten gets his hand bitten by one of them, which makes his head explode. Took a bullet to the head and lived, but even with all that, the man survived long enough for Britt, who is another character, to show up and get him medical attention. His new handgun, he can shoot projectiles out of it. Rex was able to take on a handful of Reanimin. I forgot how to say it. I hope I'm saying it right. Like Reanimin, it's like those robot cyborg humans. Yeah, Rex last hurrah. Now this is interesting. A multiverse battle. This is going to be some spoilers if you haven't read the comics. If you want to read the comics, this is a spoiler for those people who don't know about Rex. So a multiverse battle where several Invincibles show up to defeat R1. Rex got into one of them got into it with one of them, the alternate versions, and to save his fellow teammates, Robot and Monster Girl, he sparked his own bones to explode to eliminate both him and the alternate Invincible, but saving the lives of Monster Girl and Robot in the process. Now, this is from Season 1. He held his own against a small alien invasion, dodged a car blowing up while he was inside of it, fought off a second invasion of the same aliens with more advancement, held off the third invasion, took a beating from Monster Girl, took on the Lizard League, but not to his best level, took on the hired guns, the Big Bad, consisting of Battle Beast, Kurtsk, Furnace, Magnesiac, I'm hoping I'm saying that right, Tethered Tyrant, and Tethered Tyrant, that was all the characters' names, helps put down Furnace with magnets and duplicate. Shout out to Key Issues for the background video. We're not working with them personally, but we like to give credit where credit is due. So if you guys enjoy the background video, go ahead and go check out their channel to watch some great content on comics and to learn more about comic books that you might enjoy. Alright, so let's talk about the end game, how Rex Splodes would defeat Gambit. So one thing I think Rex would need to do is eliminate the staff. Now you're probably thinking, what's the big deal? It's just a staff, you know. I mean, he can use another weapon if he wants to. That's true, but Gambit's main weapon is the staff. He learned to master it pretty damn well, where he can fight very particular characters with it. Maybe if Rex can eliminate the staff, it might even his odds against him in a hand-to-hand combat. Obviously, Gambit's more experienced, but Rex, at least at this point, has some odds to his favor. Alright, another thing is, look, he was able in the comics to face the entire Lizard League on his own. So it wouldn't be that easy to put him down. Gambit might have more experience, obviously, based on his comics presence. But when it comes to Rex, you got to give it to the man. He being able to survive characters that are outnumbering you and obviously a little more powerful, and took out two of your own friends or two of your own teammates, it's got to say something. So him being able to outlast that and be able to do that means that Gambit's not just going to easily be able to defeat him, which a lot of people might think it would be that easy. Now another thing is that Rex, for even his favor, or even give him more of a favor odd, he's going to need to find some way to find maybe an open space where some of the majority of that space is left empty with nothing on the side, and then on the other side of that space there's a lot of objects, a lot of junk hanging around, stuff that you can toss and throw. Because Rex is going to need that in order to keep his ammo, his arsenal, his bullets pretty much alive. Because with Rex, it's the same thing as Gambit. If they touch an object and they throw it, it can blow things up. So if Rex can have enough objects around him, he can just keep tossing it at Gambit. And if Gambit doesn't have a lot going around him to kind of counteract that, he eventually will run out of bullets compared to Rex in this sort of way, and maybe Rex will be able to take him down with the over amount of objects being tossed at him and blowing up. Another thing to consider is that Rex has to his favor is a building. Let's say in a hypothetical situation against Gambit, he needs to kind of think on his feet. Maybe there's a possibility he might be able to blow up the structure of a building they're in, or maybe while he's outside of the structure, he might be able to blow up the building while Gambit's within it, kind of keep him in there somehow. And if he does, maybe he can have the building collapse on him, and then Gambit, of course, it wouldn't eliminate Gambit, but it might buy, you know, Rex some time to either collect more objects to toss at Gambit so he can keep throwing more bullets at him in a sort of way, or he could just keep on trying to find more objects that are nearby, that are close to that proximity, and keep trying to manage to drop it down on Gambit. So every time Gambit tries to get out of that structure, there's another thing falling down and collapsing on it, and so on and so on. It just keeps piling down like a stack of cards, where it might just be too much, where Gambit can't breathe anymore, or Gambit might just be put out for the count in that sort of way. There's that possibility. Again, if you can do it like that and Gambit just happens to escape, the best thing for Rex would be finding every little piece of object, coins, anything he can at that moment to collect, so that way he can use it to toss at Gambit and overwhelm him eventually with all that power and explosions being thrown left and right. If he's throwing explosions here and there, it's going to be hard for Gambit to stay focused or to figure out where the source is coming from if Rex keeps moving and keeping the fight pretty much constant. Those are pretty much my final points in that way. For Rex, there's not really, you can't see a lot because he doesn't have the experience like Gambit does. He does have the experience in government, learning how to be pretty much an assassin, a mercenary. So he's very stealthy in his own right too. In the comics, it shows that he's capable of being the type of person who can be subtle or very discreet without anybody seeing him. So he might be able to get the element of surprise with Gambit. But all in all, everything that goes into Rex's favor is having way more objects to his side when he goes against him, creating multiple diversions so that way Gambit can't see exactly where this guy is throwing everything, and having ability maybe be his last hurrah to crush Gambit so that way he can end him in that way, or just keep piling on more and more structure into that particular area where Gambit is, eventually overwhelming, eventually taking him down for the count and winning this one. Alright, now I'll be representing on this end Marvel Comics Gambit. Alright, now let's get into the brief origin story of Gambit, shall we? A child thief with red eyes who was kidnapped by the local thieves guild, who thought he was a prophet, believing he was the white devil here to unite them, as the guild was in war with the assassins. One day, Gambit saved a girl who turned out to be a member of the assassins, and they fell in love. The battle of both ends ceased as the two planned to get married and unite them. Her brother refused and asked to prove himself, asked Gambit to prove himself in combat, which Remy, aka Gambit, had no choice. During the fight, Gambit powers were activated and he accidentally took out her brother with a dagger that blew up when he jammed it into the brother's arm. He was exiled and took the identity of Gambit officially after that, roaming the world as a master thief. He eventually can't control his powers and makes a bargain with Mr. Sinister. If he would take a portion of his brain to prevent his full potential from unleashing, he would gather a team for him and lead them on his behalf, called the Marauders. On the mission, he discovers he was part of a massacre against deformed mutants and attempted to save at least one child to make up for his mistakes. He continued to travel the world after that until he meets Storm and brings her back to the X-Men, and the rest of his journey is history as he joins the team. Alright, now let's get into Bath. Alright, here's some of the feats according to Ivan the Unstoppable on YouTube. And I believe other sources, I can't remember, but so far it was Ivan mostly. He has had his powers altered a few times, including an alternate version of himself. In this alternate version, he was called the New Sun. In this form, he could wipe out all of life on Earth, blew up the ground someone is standing on, alter Bullseye's knife, so when he attempted to stab him, it would just dissolve in a sort of way before actually doing serious damage. Mystique threatened him, and he threatened her back by saying he would blow up the outfit she was wearing. He can destroy things just by looking at it. As a sun god, or as a new god, or a new sun, or whatever you want to call it, he was able to freeze space in between moments to stop Archangel, travel between dimensions. He took out the Phoenix Force in his universe. Another version of him as the Horse Death of Gambit. In this form, he could take out Habit, Northstar, and Iceman. Can turn the air into poisonous gas. Regular Gambit, holding a man on a rope with one arm, kicked a scroll into a wall, dodging bullets, fighting giant monsters faster than Iron Man's targeting computing software or computer system, whatever you want to call it, deflect fire with a staff, intercepted Spider-Man's web, dodge a handgun in close range, resistance to telepathy from Psylocke, resisted telepathy from Psylocke, trained by Guild, blew up Iceman's body, able to hold back an explosion. With a small grain of sand, he could cause explosions like nobody's business. Blew off the hands of a meta-human with cybernetic arms. Spit a charged bullet. Yeah, he used his own energy and shot it back using the bullet. And bam, blew things up. Took out giant robots while being choked by a powerful being. He managed to nail the gun off a woman's hand hiding behind someone with such accuracy. Defeated Wolverine at one point in the comics, holding his own against Blade, Captain America, Daredevil, Deadpool, Bullseye, and even Moon Knight. Shout out to Comics Explained We're not working with them personally, but we like to give credit where credit is due. So if you guys enjoy the background videos in these contents, please feel free to check out this YouTube channel for more great quality stuff. All right, let's get into the endgame. How Gambit would defeat Rex. So first off, obviously Gambit is way more experienced in fighting hand to hand. It clearly states all the I just named the list of all the characters he's fought against: Daredevil, Deadpool, all these characters, Moon Knight. These characters no small potatoes. So for him to be able to fight them mano a mano says a lot, meaning that he obviously, with Rex wouldn't be able to defeat Gambit's experience. Gambit's experience alone makes him kind of a seasonal veteran warrior. He's compared to Rex, which would be kind of an amateur, kind of a new kid on the block situation. So I think Gambit would take him to school in a hand-to-hand combat fight. Yeah. Another thing is that Rex, yes, he might be able to toss a lot of objects at him, but again, Gambit is fast enough to see bullets coming. So his perception is pretty damn phenomenal, which means that if he gets into a fight, he's gonna dodge those bullets left and right, no matter what it is. Even if it's little coins exploding and everything like that, he's been very well known in being acrobatic, jumping, leaping, and being able to see things coming before it can take him down. So yes, I do believe Gambit would be able to dodge whatever, Rex would toss at him. The thing is that Gambit is obviously clever. Like, you got to add that into the fight because Rex is kind of cocky. Gambit is not. Gambit is very, he thinks about, because he's been his whole life hustling. So he had to be the type of person who planned heists and everything like that. And he was kind of the perfect thief. So he's a strategist, along with being able to also requiring skills when he does so. So yes, Gambit, I do believe, would think on his feet during a fight against Rex in this sort of way. And let's talk about the fact that if he turned into any other versions of himself, it would be game over no matter what. If he turned into the new Sun, or he turned into Death Horse or whatever, it would be game over for Rex. And there's no way Rex will ever be able to defeat that, no matter what he puts his mind to. There's no level yet that Rex has shown, I guess, in the comics or in the show that says, hey, I could top that. And the last point I'll probably make, that's probably the most valid point, is if you've heard one of the little things I said about the feats, is that he was able to explode someone's cybernetic arms. Now, just by touching it. Rex, unfortunately, in the comics, does have, I believe, cybernetic hands, or wrists, So he can use those, shoot out his projectile weapons, or he can touch things. Now, maybe in the show it's different, but so far from the comics, it appears that that's where he gets his weapon and his source from. So if Gambit in any moment in time fights him and he touches those hands and those wrists, he could technically blow those wrists right off of him, and then Rex would be handless. Now, maybe Rex could survive, but it'd only be a matter of time, considering Gambit is a more experienced fighter. So at some point he'd be able to just beat Rex without those hands, and then eventually put him down for the count and then claim victory on this end. As always, no press fam. It's funny, I forgot to add, Gambit's like right around here somewhere around my chest. But as always, no press fam. It's not up to me. It's up to you guys. So if you liked either one of my argument, you know what you can do? You can hashtag Gambit, or you can hashtag Rex Splodes. And as always, no press fam. We really appreciate you guys. Catch you guys later. Peace.